All right, and we're live. What's up, Julio?
What is up? How are we doing today?
Doing great, my brother. So, thank you everybody for tuning in to another episode of valuable content on digital marketing. So, my name is Esteban, and I am the owner and founder of Regrowth Agency, a marketing agency here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, that focuses on producing results because we have lots and lots of experience. So that's what the RE stands for in regrowth, results and experience that will make you grow. So hopefully this content that we're going to share today is going to give you some nuggets uh, of truth where you can figure out what to do for yourself if you don't have an agency, right? So today we're talking about the topic for today, Julio. Do you remember what it is?
Absolutely. It's WWWR.
That's right.
Who, where, what, and result.
That's right.
So,
That's an
who's
acronym.
your target customer? Where are they congregating? What will you do to bait them in, to bring them in, and what result do you want to give them?
Perfect. So I just want to put it out there. This is not content that I created. This is something that came from this book by Russel Brunson. If you haven't seen it, it's called .com Secrets. And we're going to be doing a series on this just to help and give value to people that may not know what the internet marketing world is like, and maybe get, give you an introduction on what are some of the things you need to keep in mind. And if you're starting out as a business online and you're trying to figure out how to run ads and how to reach your ideal customers, I highly suggest and recommend that you read that book. And everything we're going to talk about, all the valuable nuggets of truth that we're going to be sharing, is based on years of research that and tested in the field. Type of stuff. So that's what we're going to be talking about. So Julio, let's dive right in. So the first thing he recommends in this book is he talks about the who. When you're running ads, any types of ads, or if you're hiring an ad agency, how do you know if you got the right ad agency or if you're doing the right thing when you run ads? Is because they're going to go through a process with you where they're going to ask you, or you should go through your own process where you should ask yourself, right? Who is my ideal customer? And this is not something that is to be taken lightly. A lot of people think, oh, why do I got to spend all this time figuring out who my customer is? I know who my customer is. Anyone who has money to buy my stuff, right? A lot of people think that's the way to go. What's your take on that, Julio?
Yeah, interesting. It's a very inefficient way to start. It's a very expensive way to start because you're leaving a lot up to chance. You're leaving a lot up to kind of let Facebook figure it out. Let the algorithm, let the data tell us who that audience is. When in reality, when you define that and then go out and look for them, it's easier to measure results and it's easier to get results too. And all of this is done before marketing, before you really, it's part of building out the campaign. It's part of that research and strategy phase, that first phase. And it's extremely important. Every time that we get a new customer, every time that we're doing new work on a project, new work on a campaign, the first thing we do is, okay, who are we targeting? What does that person look like? Let's give them a name. Let's give them ideals. What are their pain points? We build everything out from, their interests, like I said, their pain points, their problems. And then we write and we structure the ads based around this person. So when they come in, when that audience member, when that customer is opting in and they're like, hey, I like this, we already kind of have that target very much lined up. And from there, we're just kind of expanding that profile. So, hey, Sandy likes, she likes real estate and she likes this. Well, the customers we're getting are Maria and Sammy. So, and they'll just fall into that bucket of Sandy, so to speak. It's a lot easier to market that way.
Right. And one of the things that when you go about doing business, you don't think about who your ideal customer is. Sometimes you didn't get a choice. You just started a company and you found kind of like what you did. You ran ads and you saw who was interested in your product. And then you started to see, oh, this is the type of customer that likes what I have to offer. So it's important to, when you're doing business, to know who likes you, who wants to buy from you, who usually buys from you. Because when you build out an ad, you can call them out. It's kind of like fishing, Julio, right? Let's do that. I don't know. You're a fisherman, right?
Yeah, I love fishing.
And I like to use fishing as an illustration, but I have never fished in my life, dude. Like, I maybe did it once, but I do know something about fishing just from studying it, is that depending on the type of fish you want to catch, that's how you need to base your bait, right?
Absolutely. So fishing and marketing are very similar in that when you get to the location, you get to the lake, you get to that body of water, you don't necessarily know what's going to be in there. Same, you get to the marketplace, you get to Facebook, you get to Google, you don't exactly know what you're going to get, but you have a certain rod, you have a certain reel, certain line, certain bait, and you start testing. You put something out, oh, you got a bite, oh, you got a fish. Okay, great. So you do more of that. You're not getting any bites, you're not getting any fish. Okay, maybe you're the right bait. Maybe it's the right hook. The hook is too small or it's too big. Maybe they can see the line. Sometimes certain times of the day, the sun hits the water. The fish can see the line and it scares them away. Maybe you're not setting it right. Maybe you're not reeling in correctly. And so marketing is the same way. Hey, maybe people aren't clicking. Okay, they're clicking, but when they get to the website, they're not scrolling down. Okay, when they're not scrolling down, why is that? Okay, let's get some feedback. And you gradually get to the point where you kind of figure it out, and it's a push button, turn on the ad, get leads that way.
Exactly. That's a great explanation of the marketing experience, right? And a lot of people, they want to guarantee, that when they spend a certain amount of money on an ad, that is going to yield them a customer. And that's the interesting thing about marketing, is that there is no guarantee, because it's just like fishing. There's no guarantee that today you're going to catch a fish, because you don't know if you have the right bait. You don't know if go ahead. Let's talk about it.
And sometimes even when you do have the right bait and you do have everything correct, sometimes the conditions don't line up for you to catch that fish. And there are, the same way, sometimes you have your campaigns already built out. Everything is looking beautiful on Facebook. But that day, maybe those couple days are a little bit slower than the weekend, or for whatever reason, that targeting isn't working.
Sometimes it's a timing issue. Sometimes it's just you just got to be consistent on the timing. This is why we recommend that's why we recommend you run ads constantly, because there's going to be some good days and there's going to be some off days.
I was going to say that you are dealing with people, right? You are dealing with human beings. So and it's interesting when you run ads, you kind of start to see these trends of people, especially within certain locations. I know that we're running ads for a realtor right now, and during certain times we see those leads really pick up. So for example, I know that in the morning between 7 and 11:30 we get a good bit of leads, and then after from 3 to 7 or so we get a good bit of leads again. Mm-hmm. And so it's very interesting to see those patterns in the market, and we can very much optimize to that.
Right. Of course. Let's dive into the content. We want to keep this video short and sweet. So let's get into who is your dream customer. So how do you know if you know who your dream customer is? The best way to know is how much time you spend writing and defining and figuring it out. Russel Brunson recommends that you actually go a step even further, where you actually, once you write out who your ideal customer is, you crop out a picture on a magazine or something that as a symbol of, this is what my customer looks like, right? With a description. So if it's a male, you put a picture of a man's face with the description. And for the female, you put a picture of a woman with the description. So you know who you're targeting.
And this might seem a little childish. This might seem, why do I have to define, Mark Tobias? Like, why do I have to put a name and all? And the reason for that is when you go and you write your copy, you go and you make your website, you're making it for Mark. You're making it for that exact person. It's a lot easier to say, hey, I'm speaking to you, than, hey, I might be speaking to a crowd, Right. It resonates better when it feels like you're speaking to one person.
Right. Give them a name. Give your avatar a name. That's so key. So we could go on and on the avatar, but once you know who you're targeting, you can move on to the next step, which is, where are they congregating? This has to do with the online world, right? Where do they spend most of the time? Do they mainly go to YouTube and Google, or do they mainly go to Facebook, or do they spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, or are they part of any special groups on Facebook or on LinkedIn or whatever? You need to know where your ideal client is congregating, because that's where you want to go fish. You want to go fish in their pond wherever they are. If they're on Facebook and you know a lot of them are there, you need to run ads on Facebook. If they're on Google, you run ads on Google. If they're on YouTube, you run ads on YouTube. And you will know, because if you know who your customer is, what they look like, what their likes are, what their fears are, what their problems that they're trying to solve are, all those things, you're going to know where they congregate. You're going to find out where they are hiding.
Here's a quick detail on that is if you're trying to sell something wholesale, right? You have a kind of a commercial product that you'd like to move. Facebook probably isn't the best place for that. Instead, you'd probably want to go to Google and target the keywords for the searches that people are already looking up, right? The solutions to the problems people already have. And that's a much more direct way to sell those big commercial wholesale products than Facebook.
That's deep what you just said. That a lot of times we think Facebook's going to be the best place to go, and it is. A lot of times it is. Instagram is the best place to go. A lot of people are congregating on Instagram or spending a lot of their time online there. But like you said, there is a time and a place for marketing on Google and on YouTube where Facebook may not perform as well. So where are they congregating? And then number 3, we kind of touched on this already for quite a bit, but it's who, where, and what bait, right? We switched it to instead of bait, what bait? What bait do we need? What kind of bait do we need? So that's number 3. And we touched on this. Knowing, if you know who your customer is, then it becomes easier to figure out how to grab their attention, because you'll know exactly what they need to hear, see, or feel in order to listen to you. And when it comes to advertising, sometimes you only have 30 seconds or less to just grab their attention. I don't think it's even 30 seconds. I think it's less than, what is it, like 5 seconds, 3 seconds?
Right. On Facebook, it's 3 seconds. Even that can be a little long. 2 seconds. If you don't have their attention in 2 seconds, consider it lost.
Wow. Imagine that. So when you're investing money on ads and you're doing all this stuff, it is worth going through this process prior to starting to spend money and figuring it out. While you're spending money, you can already know what to do and prepare beforehand and figure out your bait beforehand, because you already know what they're going to be prone to responding. What's going to actually get to stop and look at your ad. Right? So bait
Absolutely.
is important. You need to know the bait. And Russell Brunson is known for this phrase, hook, story, offer, right? So once you get their attention, then you follow up with a story. So I want to touch on this real quick. Knowing your story, or defining your products and services in the form of a story, taking time to craft out your story. As an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you need to know how to tell your story and get good at practicing that, so that you can always share your story, because people relate to a story more than that they will relate to you doing a pitch right off the bat and say, this is my product, these are its features, these are its benefits, and this is why you need to buy from me. Why don't you tell your story? So storytelling is the new way to market online, and is the best way to do this. And there's so many tools out there, Julio, that can help you craft out your own story. This is something that we actually do when we get someone onboarded on our company that we're going to run ads for. We help them build out their own story, and we show them how to communicate their story. And when they build out their content material, their videos, and their messaging, we implement their story into it. This is so key.
Yeah, absolutely. And all of this ties in together. As soon as you know who you're targeting, you know exactly what you have to do to get them really interested. So you can create that PDF file, you can create that free offer, you can create that low ticket item that says, hey, if you act right now, I'll get you this, and you already put them into your sales process, into your sales funnel, you collect their email. It's a snowball effect of results that way.
Right. And then the last one is the R. I think this is where a lot of us get confused when we're in business, right? Because we all need this thing called money, right? We all want this. At the end of the day, you are in the industry. What you do, most people are doing business because they're chasing after this thing called money, right? And that's the wrong approach. If you're chasing the money, then you don't get it, because people are, when they hire you, when they buy from you, they're buying because you can produce a unique result. You need to know how to express that, and you need to know what that unique result is that you provide in business. What is the result? If I said to you, listen, I'm only gonna pay you after you produce the result. Now, most people would say, hell no, I'm not doing business with anybody that's going to give me money after I produce the result, because there's times that I may not even produce the result, right? And if you are in an industry, or if you're running a business where you can't even guarantee some sort of result that people are looking for, then you're a scientist. You know, this is what I call, you're a researcher and a scientist. You're still doing research. You shouldn't be running a business. You're still in the research and development phase if you can't promise a result. Would you hire, Julio, would you hire a plumber if they said to you, right? If they said to you, okay, you have a problem, you have a leaky faucet or whatever, well, that's going to take a lot of experimentation. I'm gonna go in there and try to figure it out. I'm not sure if I could fix your leak, and I'm not sure how much it's gonna cost you, but it's gonna cost you money to get me there first, to get started and to see and to experiment. Like, no one hires a plumber like that. It's like, hey man, do you fix leaks on a sink? Can you fix a leak? Yeah. Can you guarantee that you do? Yeah, of course I can fix a leak. I'm a plumber. Oh, okay, you're hired, right? You're hired.
Right. Yeah, no, same exact process. Is that the marketing process is, it is figuring out the market, it is figuring out the audiences, it is the experimentation, if we put it that way, as you figure out the exact market and then you expand. But we're not there to talk about impressions and to talk about, you know, what a nice video you have. We want to get you results. The idea is to get you those qualified leads that are easy for you to close. That's the goal. And so, you know, we can talk all day about all these other things, but at the end of the day, the metric, the KPI, the thing that we're measuring is, did we get you what you want?
Right. Were we an important factor in getting you the next customer? Obviously, we can't selling for you. Obviously, we don't your full sales process. We can help in building a funnel and a sales funnel. We could do that. That's something we do. But people hire an agency. When you hire an agency, it's important to remember, what's the result that they're going to generate for me? Are they going to be just an agency that's just going to give me data on what I should do or should not do? Or are they going to be an agency that's not just going to give me data, but it's also going to provide me with my next client that I could sell to? Or a highly hot prospect. We call that a hot lead, right? If they bring me hot leads, then it's your job to close them. But you know for a fact you got the right lead, and that the agency was able to do that, right? So that's important as an agency. But if you're a plumber, right, you promise that you can fix plumbing issues. You don't have to. You know, people already assume that as a plumber that you can fix certain things, that you have experience in doing this, and that you can provide the result of fixing an issue related to plumbing. Now, are there exceptions? Are there certain things that it might be out of your knowledge, and maybe there's an issue, a problem that maybe a plumber can say, well, this requires more than just plumbing, right? And or I'm redoing your entire house. I have to, for plumbing because it was done wrong, right? So that creates a different issue or a different problem. But most of the time, most businesses think that they get paid to experiment. They don't understand that when people hire them, they are being hired to produce they assume the customer is always assuming that you're going to give me what you want, what I want, you know? So when I go to buy a coffee from Starbucks, if I give them this and I ask for an almond, whatever, right? I haven't been there in a while, but this is this almond coffee that I like, and if I ask for that, I expect that for my whatever, $5, whatever it is I'm paying for. That's what I expect for it. I know there's a guarantee. I gave $5 to them and they're going to give me my coffee, right? And I expect it to taste and smell and feel a certain way when I do it.
And if it doesn't, you'll give them that feedback. You'll say, "Hey, look, I asked for this this drink, and it's not the way I like it. Please fix it," and they'll fix it for you.
Right. So it's important when you're in business, that part of results. It's important to understand what results you're giving out. What is it that you're good at? What is it that you're known for, that your company's known for? Before you start running ads, you need to know what unique result you are giving to the community. That's key, man. So let's recap. Who, right? The first thing is know who they are. Really know who your buyer is. Who are your customers that will buy from you, that will hire you? Who are they? What do they look like? What are their likes? What are their dislikes? What are their pains? What are usually their objections? This is so important to know. Research all of that. Know this in advance. Who is your customer? The next one is, where are they congregating? Know where they usually are online. Where do they spend their time? The third thing is, what bait? What bait are you going to use to grab their attention? And then your story, because the bait goes hand in hand with the story. And then your unique result. What's your promise? What's your promise to people when they hire you? What can they expect? What can they expect? Can you meet their expectations? Julio, that's all I got.
Sounded great. I mean, and the thing is, we can go into so much detail on everything that you just said. But yeah, I think that was a lot. And it really sets kind of a foundation for that beginning part of the marketing. You don't just get in there and start putting money into Facebook. There's some research and some strategy. You build some things out before you do that, so you can trust the process.
Exactly. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to be producing this type of content every week. We're going to go live and do this twice a week. Usually we do this on Tuesday. I think we set it up for, it was for Wednesdays and Fridays. Today is a Thursday because we weren't able to do yesterday's video. But you can expect every single week, and everybody can have an expectation that we're going to be content that will help you as a company to market yourself in the digital space, right? Whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Google, whatever, you can apply these principles and have some success marketing yourself digitally, right? So thank you guys for tuning in. And again, this is Esteban and Julio with Regrowth Agency. You can find us. We're still working on our website, but eventually it's going to be regrowthagency.com. So I'm going to start planting that out there, and that's it. That's all I got, Julio.
Awesome. Sounds great.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Till the next one.
Till next time.
All right.